we have Mr. Dane Espegard. We talk about how to achieve your dreams in 9 different categories. We're going to be diving in. Do you want blissful balance in your personal and professional life? Great. What's up, guys? My name is Carrie Jack, and I want to help you happy hustle a life you love, one full of passion, purpose, and positive impact. I'm a lifestyle entrepreneur, a professional model / actor, a digital marketing specialist, a podcast host, author, a biohacker, an eco-warrior, a martial artist, a hippie cowboy, and a humanitarian. My goal is to educate, inspire, and entertain you to live a life of passion, purpose, and positive impact. It is time to happy hustle your dream reality. Yee! All right, Dane Espegard, welcome to the Happy Hustle Podcast, my brother. I am super stoked to rock the mic with you.
Happy to be here.
Yeah, man, this is going to be a fun one. I mean, you are a passionate husband and father, first and foremost. You are a serial entrepreneur, as well as an author, and you're a happy hustler, my friend, who has a pretty epic book called The Dream Machine, which was a bestseller on Amazon. And I'm really excited to talk about dreams and how you can actually create them with your team and your family and for yourself, that you actually, accomplish them and not just like put a goal on paper like many of us do, especially around the new year time, but actually create a tactical system around, ultimately creating your dream reality. So really pumped about that. But before we get into all that good stuff, Dane, what is something interesting about yourself that not too many people know?
So this, I'm going to go in a little different direction. I don't know if this would be, like the 2 truths and a lie type of deal. A lot of people don't know this about me. I have not met anyone that can also claim that they have been ticketed or pulled over by a cop on a horse, a bicycle, and a police car. So I've been ticketed all 3.
So, okay, we got to unpack this. So a bicycle, a horse cop, and a car cop, all 3.
Yeah, separate situations, but yeah.
That's hilarious. What were the reasons? Let's go.
I mean, they were all, slight driving infractions. I got 2 of them were in Omaha, Nebraska, downtown. They have Mountie cops. And I was like pulling up to the loft building that I lived at, and allegedly rolled through a stop sign as I was going to park. And there happened to be a horse cop right there. So he just pointed, and I don't have the ability to drive off. It's not in my integrity. So I just sat there and waited and shamefully took my ticket. And the same thing happened with a cop where he pointed at me to pull over, and I sadly pulled over and waited for him to pedal up and give me a ticket. So it's not like they're fun stories, but just the fact that maybe I'm a pushover and just pulled right over for him.
That's good morals though, brother. I will say, I noticed you went to the University of Madison in Wisconsin, and speaking of getting arrested or ticketed or pulled over, I peed in public at Mifflin, which I'm sure you know about Mifflin, and which is like for those people who don't know, it's like a 50,000 person block party. It's absolute carnage. And I got arrested and it's a long story, but I had a fake ID on me. I was younger,
Yeah.
I got put in the slammer for a night. It was no bueno. So, that actually shaped my trajectory. I have since not returned to Madison, but it will be etched in my brain.
Oh, that's good. I thought you were going to say I since have not returned to jail. I was going to say that's positive then, but you said Madison. I love Madison.
Well, you know what? I haven't been to jail either after that, so that's good. So yeah. Well, speaking of freedom, let's talk about how to create, effortless segue here into more freedom for people to create their dream life and their dream list using the Dream Machine. It's an A to Z guide basically on how to set up the culture of achieving your dreams for the workplace, essentially, but also for yourself. The book really breaks down that dream process talk to us about, first and foremost, the genesis of the book and why did you write it?
Yeah. I'm a firm believer in having some targets to work towards. And I've always been somebody that's grown up with ambition and big ideas and, big desires for my life. And I got started with Cutco Knives. A lot of people know that company as a, student sales opportunity. So I did that when I was at college at University of Wisconsin-Madison, and enjoyed their mix of entrepreneurship, the autonomy of that, the personal growth aspect. And so I stayed with them post-college. The first major national event I went to, they hired a speaker named Matthew Kelly, and he came in and ran an exercise for us on creating our dreams list. And so that was back in 2007. And I remember that just giving me a ton of energy, because it wasn't about, at that time I was selling knives. It wasn't about selling knives. It was about, what do you want to do with your life that is not related necessarily to what you're doing at this very moment. And I took that home and started using it with my team, and everybody that I talked to about it got a ton of energy. And so I used it for a little bit, and just like a lot of personal growth things, it was really exciting for a month or 2 months, and then, kind of returned to doing the same stuff I was doing before. And then I had an opportunity to move a couple times within that company and start a team from scratch. And so when I was doing that for, what would that have been, 2012, 2013, right around those years, I had already started a couple of teams. So I went through the process and said, if I were to start one last team that I was going to be on and lead for the next 10, 15, 20 years, what would I want that culture to be that I'd be really excited to always be, on fire and engaged? And I settled back on people achieving their dreams. And so 2013, I dove back into the list with my then girlfriend. We got our notebooks back out, recreated our lists, and then we started kind of chipping away at it and accomplishing things personally. And I've always fallen into the leadership mantra of, you've got to lead from the front, in terms of, if you want culture to be a certain way, you've got to be willing to embody it. So that first year, my wife and I, girlfriend at the time, we just lived our lives out loud in front of our team and talked about, hey, we crossed another dream off. Hey, we're doing this because it's on our dreams list. And then it really spread and has become the main thing on our team. We've dialed it up now to be a full culture and a full system, but that's kind of how it started.
Wow. And the thing that I really want to echo is you lived it first. You did it by example, and then you talk about it. I think that's where many people now, especially in this whole influencer, fake guru, everyone stands in front of a rented Lambo and pretends they're an expert, culture. They don't actually have the experience to lean on, and it's just, it's difficult to discern who is the real deal and not. So I love that you actually did this, lived it, got the results, and then talked about how to replicate them with others. So talk to us about the first step, because just a fun fact for everyone. So I met Dane at Front Row Dads Live, and we had an amazing convo in the back of the room. He actually inspired me to really join FRD full on, which I have since. And he then facilitated a dreams workshop for our families and the FRD community. And it was awesome, because you break it down in a way that you just essentially brainstorm your dreams, but in a methodical manner. When you're talking about the book and really breaking it down for people who are maybe their goal setting wasn't second nature, well, what is the first step? Let's get tactical. Let's give the happy hustlers some real, juicy things that they can maybe even pause this episode and get after doing. Is there a first step?
Yeah, I think when it comes to just first step for anybody in general, it's putting pen to paper, and it's coming up with what would be the exciting stuff to achieve. And so in the book, I talk about the 9 categories. My way of doing it is not the right way of doing it. It's just what works well for me. I don't really think there's a wrong way for somebody to go about it, but getting pen to paper I like categories, because I think it allows the individual to compartmentalize, right? And say, okay, well, hey, this category of my life or this area of my life. And, we all too often will say, well, here's my personal life and here's my professional life. And we all know we've got one life and they bleed over into each other all the time. And so I think it's
Yeah.
helpful to say, though, what are my family dreams and what are my health dreams and what are my travel dreams? And we,
Yeah.
I don't know what the number is, but if you were to talk to somebody that even says like, oh, I don't really dream a lot. If I were to say, hey, give me 5 to 10 places you'd be excited to go visit in the US, they'd probably be able to do it. Right. If I said, give me what's your favorite sport or activity? Cool. What would be some highlights in that? They'd probably be able to list some things off. So I don't buy the idea that people, don't dream. I think that we all give it different titles. Some people it's daydream. Some people it's, set goals. And I think that just putting pen to paper gives us the freedom to say, oh, this is cool. And it's like any brainstorming thing. 5 leads to 10, 10 leads to 20, 20 leads to 50. And all of a sudden somebody looks up and they're like, oh, I got 60 things written down. That would be pretty cool to do.
Yeah. Yeah. So true. You just got to like put pen to paper and just start listing the things that you desire. When it comes to those 9 different categories, let's break it down for people. Name the categories if you would, and then how many do you recommend starting with in each category?
So I always start groups off with travel first because I think that's the easiest for people to get to switch into an abundance mindset, right? Where it's like, oh, there's a bunch of places I want to go. And so within travel, I think you could break it down to a few different questions of like, where in the US would you want to go? Where in where in Europe, where in the world? But we use a ton of thought joggers to get people thinking with that. Then I go to what I think is a natural next category, which is adventure. Because a lot of times as you're thinking about travel, you're like, wow, whitewater rafting or, going hunting or whatever. So then we go to adventure. After that, we go to material. Then I'll typically go to financial and career. And then after, that's kind of where it starts to get into the less of the check it off the list item. A lot of the dreams that we talk about are aspirational, like how do I want to be? Who do I want to be? They're not necessarily like, oh, I traveled there and so now, therefore, it's done. So then after the financial category, we'll go to health. Then we go to, and that's both mental and physical. Then we go to family and relationships. Then we go to creative, like new skills, that type of stuff people would like to have. Then there's spiritual. And then the last one we go through is legacy. How do they want to be remembered and what kind of impact do they want to leave?
Yeah, those are great. I mean, similar to you, like our whole framework at the Happy Hustle is our 10 alignments of being a happy hustler. It's our soul mapping framework. It's what the book's all about, our courses, and it's a way to, again, systematically harmonize the ambition and the well-being. And I think it's important to break it into categories. Like we have, selfless service, optimized health, unplugged digitally, loving relationships. That's the soul, right? And mindful spirituality, abundance financially, personal development, passionate hobbies, impactful work, and then nature connection. So similar in many regards to like what you have listed out, except you're creating dreams around them. What we do is we measure ourselves from 1 to 5 in each of these 10 different categories every single week. And then we prioritize change accordingly. And thus we are balancing our day, thus our week, thus our lives with these different areas that, are important. I really liked the thought joggers that you brought to the table when you were doing the dreams workshop, because like a lot of times we just get stuck in our self-limiting patterns of, whatever our mindset is or whatever we've seen on, TV or, we've heard a friend say. Give us some thought joggers let's just do a thought jogger for each category, if you will. Like I know you talked about, travel. Let's start there and then kind of take us through it, if you would. And then what I want all the happy hustlers to do is actually like be an active participant and just write down one dream for each of these 9 categories. Is that cool, Dane?
Absolutely. So I think a lot of it comes from same thing with journaling, right? It's like, what are your prompts? And that to me is what those thought joggers are, right? They just get your juices flowing. So when it comes to travel, I'll usually start in the US and I start, all the way in Hawaii and say, hey, have you ever wanted to visit Hawaii? And if so, who would you want to go with? And if it's not there, it's let's say, what national park would you love to go to? And what would you want your experience to be, right? Do you want to camp? Do you want to be in an RV? Do you want to stay at a really nice lodge, right? And so the more descriptive we can be, the better. Then when it comes to adventure, with adventure, there's a ton for that category, but I'll usually go to like, hey, what's the hobby or the sport or the activity that used to give you a lot of joy that maybe you don't do as much anymore as an adult? So for golf, like what would be the golf course that you'd love to play around on? Or what's the tournament that you'd love to go see? I'm a big sports guy, so I have on my list like see the Packers in the Super Bowl, see the Bucks I'm from Wisconsin originally. So, it's like all of those listed out. It may be you're really into wine. Cool. What would be the premier experience for that? Do you want to go to Bordeaux? Do you want to go to your favorite vineyard? That type of thing. Material. A lot of times it depends. I'll gear it towards the audience or the crowd that I'm working with. But if it's material, a lot of times I'll go to, hey, house. What would be the best upgrade? Everybody's got a big to-do list in their house, right? What would be an awesome enhancement or upgrade to your home? Maybe it's that outdoor barrel sauna, right? I just 2 weeks ago, for Christmas, we got a dream off my list. I got an awesome cold plunge. So something like that is on the material thing. It could be and again, it's different. I made my first list, I think when I was 22. So my material category was massive, right? As a young 20s, I was like every luxury car you can think of. And now my material one's way less, but they're more for like the home or, something like that. Let's see, the next one, financial and career. This is where we'll typically introduce tiered dreaming. So this could be something as simple as, let's say I'm talking to entrepreneurs. It might be, let's say they own their own business. It's like, I want to, whatever their mark is, like I want to acquire, I'll give you one, my new software that I just launched for the Dreams Vault. For a dream, I have 50 companies using the software. And then after that, I have 100, and then I have 1,000. So it's not something that it stops. There's more layers to it, but the first 50 would be really exciting. It could be have 5 streams of income, and then 10 streams of income, and 100 streams of income. It could be a net worth number, something like that. Let's see, family or the health one. Health that's also specific for where somebody's at. So if you've ever wanted to do a Ironman or marathon, or it might even be just get blood work done, do a food sensitivity test, do, a genetics test. I just brought somebody on my team, their Christmas gift was acupuncture because they had that on their dreams list. So I was like, well, I'm gonna gift you that. So maybe that could be, somebody's on there too. The family and relationships, that I'll speak to you as a fellow father and husband. For that, there's a lot that I have on my list that are like, hey, what are some things that you want to do with your kids? So we have on ours solo trips once a year. So my wife just took one of my daughters to Salt Lake City last weekend, so we crossed that off the list, right? We also have on there, be specific about what the best version of you is in every role that you have. So I have on my list, be a great husband. And that's not something that I can just like, hey, crush that today, check that off the list. It's So the more descriptive somebody can get on like, well, what does it mean to be a great husband, for me? And I write that stuff out. And so every time I look at it, it just reminds me of who I'm trying to, who I'm aspiring to be. What's the next category? The creativity and skills. This could be, have you ever tossed around the idea of learning a new skill? Like maybe it's a DIY project, right? Or maybe you want to, build a fence, or maybe you want to learn how to make wine, or, something that if money were totally taken care of, what would really engage you up here? Maybe it's you want to take a Muay Thai class or jiu-jitsu class or something like that. The spirituality could just be pray more. It could be find a church. It could be read the Bible. It could be get more involved in your church. And then lastly, the legacy is typically, how do you want to be remembered? What kind of impact do you want to make? How do you want to be remembered in your family, and how would you do that? So in other words, is it a book of your lessons? Is it setting up a trust for your family? Do you want to volunteer? Do you want to give away all your money before you pass? What are
Yeah.
what's that the lasting impact? So that kind of gives you a little taste.
Ah, yeah, man. Crush those thought joggers, Dane. Man, off the cuff. I know this is your specialty, but that's why I wanted you to do it, is because those thought joggers really take it from, oh, cool, there's categories, to, oh, wow, now I'm actually like, I got my mind turning,
Yep.
and I think that is really important. We have like action tasks, sample action tasks for each of our 10 alignments, where it's
Yep.
like, all right, selfless service could very simply, just give 15 minutes of your time today to
Yep.
somebody who needs it, right? Mentor, or, whatever, for optimized health, drink a gallon of water. Like, little action tasks take it from theory to operationalizing it, right?
Mhm.
And I think that's where the thought joggers come in. Um, I really appreciate those categories too, because, I don't think many systems go deep enough. And I feel like that covers the majority, where you really, it's not just like you said, personal and professional life. There's a lot of subcategories that need to be addressed. The travel and adventure, and material and financial and career, health, family and relationships, creative, spiritual, legacy. These categories, all the happy hustlers out there, I really hope that you actually sit down and like go through this workshop, or this book, and then just doing a workshop for your own, self. And then, you mentioned the software.
Mhm.
Talk to us about that and how that actually applies.
Yeah. So when I started, I had been doing the dream stuff since 2013 in my organization. It got sticky. People were loving it. We got it dialed in to be, more of a system. And then what we had settled on, even when I launched the book in 2000, what was that, 2021, we managed almost everything just through Google Docs, like Google Sheets, where everybody
Hmm.
would make dreams list. They'd share it with me. And on a team aspect, why I'd want visibility of that is I want to see what your dreams are. I want to know, hey, you're on my team, but you're a lot more than just somebody who works on my team. You're an individual. You're working towards your own stuff. So the idea behind engaging an employee or a team member around their dreams is to really get to the core of who that person is, and also shift the
Mm.
conversation from what you do is not the job. The job is meant to be the vehicle for you to live the life of your dreams. So we all are
Yep.
doing work for different reasons, and hopefully somebody finds a spot that it totally aligns with all their values, but that's not what most people end up in, right? And so I don't think somebody has to find the job or the occupation that perfectly aligns if they're fulfilling themselves through pursuing their dreams. So the software, what it was meant to do, I'm super excited about it because we just launched it like 2 months ago. And so I've been, for the last
Let's
couple of
go.
years, with the book launched, I'm like, oh, we got to have something that can help people integrate this. And
Yeah.
so partnered with a front row dad that you now know as well, named Ali Jafarian. This guy's he's a
Yep.
stud. And
He is.
he helped me build, or I shouldn't say help me. I gave him the ideas. He built it. And it's great. So,
Yeah.
so basically, everybody, like tonight, I'm doing I'm onboarding a company, so I'll do a dreams workshop, and then at the end, everybody loads up their dreams into the software, and then HR, leadership, management, they can view everybody's dreams lists. So, like for me and my team, for Christmas shopping, instead of saying thank you with a random gift certificate, I like went into everybody's dreams list. I had my own budget, and I spent money. But the great thing was I knew 100% of those dollars were well received because it was on their dreams list. It wasn't just a generic thing.
Yeah.
Everybody's gift was
Yeah.
different, but it didn't take me a lot of time because I had shopping lists essentially for everybody.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Apologies for interrupting your programming, but I have to tell you, the best investment you can make in yourself is one in which helps you acquire skills. You've probably heard people talk about, oh, just invest in yourself and you'll be successful. Yes, that's true to a degree, but you have to invest in skills that will ultimately help you achieve your desired results. And I think one of the best skills one can possess, be it an entrepreneur or an aspiring entrepreneur, is the sales sword. Really knowing how to sell, utilizing pressure-free persuasion, which will make you more money and more impact. Now, if you want to know how to sell more efficiently and effectively, I just launched a sales course called The Proven Roadmap Process to Selling Millions of Dollars and helping you to increase your conversions guaranteed. And you can get access to this new sales course that The Happy Hustle is launching at thehappyhustle.com/sales. And if you act fast, you'll get it at the lowest price it'll ever be available, because we are launching it and we want to gain amazing testimonials and social proof to further share this knowledge. So if you act fast, you can get it at the lowest price it'll ever be. That's at thehappyhustle.com/sales. Now let's get back to this episode.
And
Yeah.
and then what's nice is in there, they get to activate dreams. So basically, that's just goal setting where they say, these are the 5 I'm going to try and do in the next 6 months. They set sub steps just like you do if you were goal setting. They assign target dates to those. And then I, as their manager, as their leader, they get reminders, but so do I, that they have one coming up. So if you're on my team, Carrie, and it says, Carrie's going to book a trip for his family and the target date is February 1st, I'd get an email the week before that says, Carrie's supposed to book a trip in a week. And then I could just engage you on that topic and say, hey man, anything you need is support, make sure you book it. It's on your dreams list. I've done with my team before where they'll say, I want to sign up for that Tough Mudder, right? Or something like that. And then I'll just show up the week of that they're supposed to book it and say, hey, I looked into it. It's $100. I'd love to split it with you to show that I'm invested in your health goals, right? And it's an easy $50, but it goes so far to them because it also holds them accountable to that. So
yeah. Well, that's awesome. Where can people go to actually is it publicly available or is it only for your corporate clients? I think
it's for clients.
It's open, right?
A workshop, but it is for corporate clients. It's if you go to thedreamsvault.com, there's a spot on there where somebody can book a demo, which essentially is just going to show them how stuff works. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, this is awesome. And go ahead.
I was going to say, we have it priced where it's a hell yeah. In other words, I wanted this to be something that was anybody who's into dreaming that looks at the prices, they're like, oh, that's it? So that's where we have it priced right now.
Yep. Yeah. That's awesome. And I think I got a demo on that Dreams workshop and it looks top notch. I am curious just because I know a lot of entrepreneurs out there. Myself, I don't know how much you know my backstory, but I was a tech entrepreneur prior to being this lifestyle entrepreneur. And I had a tech company in New York City. We built this algorithm around quantifying feedback, and we had this whole big data play, and it was a whole thing. We had this 5-year exit planned out and deals with Microsoft and IBM on the table and 7-figure VC funding. And I just burnt out. That's really what set me on this path to become a happy hustler. And one of the things that I'm getting now back into is creating SaaS, software as a service, for the Happy Hustle framework. Because like you said, we're just using right now Google Docs for all of our happy hustlers, to track everything. For those people out there who are interested in creating SaaS, give us the pros and cons from your recent perspective.
Well, that's a great question. So I'm so inept when it even comes to the language around what just got created. So
yeah,
I knew something needed to be created, and I knew that the workshops that I run are fantastic, but it's kind of like a steroid shot in the arm where it's great for a month or 2 months, but unless somebody has something for the back-end implementation or integration, it's less likely to last, right? So, so I interviewed, I want to say 6 different, and they were all a little different. Some of them, there was one that was like a think tank where they take your idea and you it was a weird arrangement, but I had some friends that had gone through it and said it was good. Then I met with some tech developers, and I had quotes all over the board for how much this was going to cost. And what was so scary to me was the black hole of I could spend blank and still not even have a finished product, right? And so what I settled on, and I shared this at FRD, and I'm a firm believer in this, and this is why I love the dream stuff too. It's just putting it out in the universe. And I know that's the fluffy, just pray and put it in the universe. But so many times this has worked out for me that if I just tell enough people, somebody connects me with the right person. And this Ali guy, we were talking before we started taping, we went on a off the grid front row dad, like there was 4 of us hiking trip up in the mountains. And while we were hiking one day, I was talking about the dream stuff, how inspired I was and excited, and the book was already out. And they were asking what's next, and I said, I've been looking for a company that can build the software. Little do I know, Ali, who's right next to me hiking, has the skill set to do exactly what I'm talking about, and he doesn't say a word. And then he's just like, "Oh, cool, all right, all right." And but I also, as he was sharing on this trip, he was trying to get rid of things on his plate. He was trying to create more space,
Yeah.
and so I think that was August. And then that November, he reaches out and he's like, "Hey, man, have you found a company?" And I said, "No." And he goes, "I've been thinking about it a lot. I could do it." And I was like, "What?" And he goes, I can build, I do exactly what you're looking for. I just was trying to say no to more things, but I can't get this out of my head. I believe in it. I believe in you. And so we made a partnership, and I was more than happy to do an equity thing with him, because for me, this is, I think the mission of this is huge. I want it out there, and I knew that'd be probably the fastest way to get a great product out there.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think having the right team is a really great takeaway from that. You know, if you are going to create a partnership, make sure that there's someone you know, like, and trust, because you're kind of, you're getting married in a sense, right? If
Yeah.
you're giving equity away, right? But I do hear you with, like, it is a black hole, the SaaS world, and frankly, you could build it and then no one want it,
Yeah.
so I think it's important to pre-sell it. Um, Dan Martell, I don't know if you know Dan, but he was on the pod, and he talks about, like, pre-selling your SaaS. Like, if you don't collect, like, actual credit cards numbers and pre-orders for your software as a service, like, don't build it. Like, people will tell you that's a great idea all day, but
Right.
unless you collect actual hard cash. So I think there's just, it's very glorious in nature, because people see these massive market valuations of SaaS companies with respect, that they deserve a lot of it, but then there's a graveyard of SaaS companies
Yeah.
too. So I'm wondering, what are you doing right now to avoid the graveyard and to get into the glory?
So, I don't. I'm interested to listen to what I say right now, a year from now and 2 years from now, to see if there's any, there's any validity to it. But like right now, it is. We're super lean in terms of the team, which it makes us really nimble. We're also not. I'm not married to it has to be a certain way. So the first companies that we
Mm,
onboarded onto the platform were companies that have been using my dreams system for the last couple of years. Like I went in, spoke to their team a couple of times. They've got the dreams culture going without the software. And so what's great is they're my first paying clients, and I'm, you know, they're a lot of them are front row dad companies, and so what's great is that the feedback is fast. It's not this formal. It's like,
mm,
hey, they text, hey, I think it'd be really cool if it did this. I think it'd be great if it did this. And we're at this stage
yeah,
are able to evolve it and make sure. So I'd say we're hearing the feedback immediately, and these guys
yeah.
know that the first companies that are on, like, hey, I need you. I need you to help me kind of co-create this as it's out there. And so that's kind of been the mindset that we've had thus far.
Well, I think that's a really important mindset, to listen to feedback from real users and then adapt, evolve, and iterate based on that feedback. And especially with SaaS, but this goes across the board for anybody's product or service out there. Like, if you're not talking to your customers, like Ryan Levesque says, right, with the ask method,
Mm-hmm.
you need to ask them. Another FRD, brother who was at the Front Row Dads Live, and it's really cool. to get that feedback, positive or negative, and then make those changes, then witness the reaction too, because then people know you actually are listening, and then they're invested deeper in the co-creation. So I think in a year or two from now, you'll be pleasantly surprised and pleased with your response there, Dane. So
I'm
tap
not
on the old back for you, brother.
very techy, but I feel like I'm very self-aware. So that's a strength.
Yeah, man. Well, I do want to like hard pivot before we get into the happy hustle hacks and just ask you, you've sold millions and millions of dollars worth of Cutco products, and selling anything, there's a way to do so where it's not scammy, sleazy,
Mhm.
it's full of integrity. It's pressure free. I love sales personally, the art of the deal, selling high ticket. I've logged thousands of hours on Zoom calls just selling millions of dollars worth of other people's and my own products and services. And I think like it's a superpower to be able to sell. And
Mhm.
I'm sure you would agree. You
Mhm.
know, what is your frame when you get into a sales um, conversation? Do you have like a preemptive mindset? Because I think this is where many people go awry, and then they get that commission breath where it's like this
Yeah.
icky stench, and people are
Totally.
like, "Oh, this person breeds desperation, dude. Like back up," So like, I'm wondering, what's your sales frame prior to a conversation?
I think it's a great question. I think the individual that's going, like the sales individual going into the consult, the presentation, the presentation. I think number one, approaching with an abundance mindset, which is win-win exists. Also,
Yeah, yeah,
I need to be really aware of what all the options are that I have the ability to sell this person, and then the other main approach is what's in it for them, right? It's the whole I've
yeah,
heard it referred to as the radio station WIIFT, what's in it for them, and the idea
yeah,
there is, I'm not here to sell my blank. I'm here to help solve an issue for this person. And if I don't have something that fits what they need, I should tell them that, right? Or I should refer them in the right direction. And if I
yeah,
commonly find myself not having a solution for each person, I'm probably selling the wrong stuff. But if you have a great product, if you have a great service, more often than not, you have a solution for them to say, "Oh, this is it." And what I think is so important is that if I'm approaching what's in it, what's in it for them, what's the best for them, I'm not going to be so stuck on I have to sell this package or this one thing. It's, hey, I could see this benefiting, I could see this benefiting. I love options closing. I love being really upfront with people, right? I think the opening is really important of any sales interaction to say, hey, I've got some great products and offerings. And by the way, I'm going to hear what you need. I'll explain what we have. And if I feel like there's a great option, I'm probably going to ask you if you want to get it today. Right. And so I tell people that right up front, no matter what. And then I think just being very transparent about, where you're at as the individual, whether that means goal sharing, whether that means, being relatable, being open, talk about your family. Like I'm a very open and transparent individual in everything that I do, including a sales interaction.
yeah. I think those are sage words. I really appreciate the upfront nature that you possess. And I think just being straight up with people, like people's BS meters are higher than ever these days. Like they can detect a little snake in the grass.
Yep.
And, if you're just like, hey, listen, I got some products that you might like and they could potentially positively enhance your reality. If it's a fit, would you like to hear about them? And it's just, you're keeping it real. um, I do think most people, though, they lose the sale by not having two things: ethical, keyword here, being ethical, scarcity and urgency.
Mm-hmm.
What's your take on ethical, scarcity, and urgency, and how do you create it in a sales interaction?
So I think, part of the pitch needs to be like, why buy now? Right? Why make the decision?
Yep.
And so
Yeah.
if you're grabbing at straws at that, they can tell. If there's I
Yeah.
think that there's always a way to structure it, that there's some sort of price break, a benefit, a plus one, a something for making a decision right
Yeah.
now, today. I love selling a product or a service that is, here's your benefit to make the decision today, but at the exact same time, I'm going to offer you a money back period. So I'm not looking to stick you in this corner and say, you got to make I got you to make the decision today. That's it. It's like, well, hey, here's a benefit to decide today, because I think we're both having a great conversation about this and it seems like this makes sense. But at the same point, I believe so much in what I'm selling, my product, my service, whatever, that if you're not happy in 15 days and 30 days and whatever, I'll happily refund your money because I'm really confident in what we provide. I think that's the way to balance both in an ethical way. I was I was training somebody for a high ticket sales position. They came from, they interviewed for the position, they had experience, and we were talking about this. And I was talking about, hey, and, make sure that you're upfront to say, here's why buy today. And then here's what we could honor for you if you find out that it's not the right product or service. And the guy goes, and then would we give them their money back? And I go, what are you talking about? He goes, well, I've been other places that we talk about that, but then we make it really difficult to get their money back. I was like, no, we absolutely would honor that with 100% certainty. And he's like, okay, I just wanted to check. But, it was a great guy, but to his credit, like his experience in the sales world was not that. And so I think that's a really important thing to stress.
Yeah. Yeah. I really agree with you. The satisfaction guaranteed. We have a happiness guarantee with all our stuff, but here's the difference. It's conditional in that they actually have to show up and do the work.
Yeah.
So I'm a big proponent of those type of guarantees. A blanket money back guarantee. I like it for like supplements and those kind of things where the trust is low and you need to have that peace of mind, because chances of someone like returning a supplement is very small anyway.
Yep.
I know one of our sponsors, by Optimizers, they have a 365-day money back guarantee. It's pretty epic, and it's like, okay, I could try this for a whole year, for like a $50,000 mastermind. It's like, oh, I just didn't go to the things. It's like,
I'm with you on that, Carrie. I think that it definitely needs to be like, but you got to show up, you got to do some stuff. You can't just say, oh, I chose not to do it later, right? I totally align with that. And getting my start with Cutco, that's probably why I'm also biased that way. They have a forever guarantee. And what I saw is that when you told people you can return it whenever you want forever, what is that? It automatically means we got a phenomenal product if we're willing to do that, right? So you're probably not going to need the return. Same with the supplement company that you're talking about.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I'm really glad I went there with you because, I value your experience in the sales game, man. And I think, it's something that it needs to be talked about. People, it almost has this I don't know. It's like this label, like sales. There's like this yucky thing that it doesn't get like talked about, and I don't think that that's necessary. I think sales are a part of everyday life. You sell your kids to, get to bed on time. You sell your wife on date night. You sell yourself on going to the gym. Like you gotta have sales a part of the game. I just think.
Can I share a kid's story real fast? My daughter, I talk about sales often to my girls, and my 5-year-old totally pulled a options close on me the other day. And I was so happy. She go, option closing saying, would you be more interested in this or this? Instead of yes or no, it's this option or this option. And she comes up, she goes, they had some friends over. She goes, can we watch a show? And I said, no, you got friends over. What do you like? Go play. She comes back 10 minutes later. She goes, okay, can we watch a show? Which I'd already said no to. Or if not watch a show, will you let me have candy? And I was like, what? So she already got turned down no, and then she used that to position her other offer. My heart was happy, but the answer was still no. But I love the sales aspect from it.
Yeah, that's great, man. I mean, it's definitely important to just have it a part of your conversations with your team, your family. Like, don't make this taboo subject. Talk about sales, how to do it in a ethical and efficient way. I don't know. That's just a small caveat on the dreams, topic. But I do want to kind of reference the free gift you have for everybody, because, this is something a lot of people might hear this conversation and be like, this was, powerful for anyone who's going to take action. It's definitely powerful just to hear it, but then to take it and, like, again, operationalize it. You have a free gift that can kickstart that. Talk to people about what that is and where they can get it.
Yeah, so I'm just giving away the book, and the idea behind that was I got asked right away when I launched the book, and I was going to do some podcasts, like, what's the free gift? I was like, I mean, my message is all in the book. Like, I didn't save any punches, or it wasn't, and then contact me for this. Like, people can hire me to do the workshops, but in the book, I literally spell out everything A to Z, and I don't leave anything after that. So as I was kind of going through myself, journaling on, like, well, what do I want? Like, the purpose of this is to get as many people dreaming as possible. I think the world's better. I think our cities are better. I think relationships are better when people are thinking differently. And so people can just go to www.daneespegard.com/free gift, and there's a free online, or they can download a PDF of the book from there.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, it's a great gift. So we'll link that up in the show notes. Also, is it an audiobook as well?
It's not an audiobook. I should have an audiobook by the end of the year. I just struggle with somebody else's voice. I don't know if you've gone through that.
You got to do it, dude. You got to cowboy up and do it, man.
I know. I just haven't made it a priority. But
yeah,
2024,
especially with your energy.
Yeah.
And let me give you words of wisdom from someone who did do it, and like, probably could have done it better, but still, I digress. The two words of wisdom: one, do like a legit studio and just like focus and get it done. And then two, interject, like, make your personality shine. I think that's audiobooks are becoming more popular oftentimes than hardback or softback books, because, like, someone with your personality, if you could interject and, like, or do a chapter, reflection, or, like, it's just, those are really things I enjoy as a listener, and I think a lot of people do. So anyway,
yeah, I appreciate that. Hal Elrod just did his redo at a nice studio in Austin, so he just gave me the referral to that. So,
oh, perfect. Yep, there you go. Well, I do want to put you through the Happy Hustle hacks and then the rapid fire, and we'll wrap this up. So this is just a tip, a tool, a tactic in a couple different disciplines, and we label them a Happy Hustle hack. So first being health. I know health is a priority for you. In order to achieve your dreams, you got to have your health, right? So do you have something a little unique, though, something that we could deem a Happy Hustle hack in the health game?
So accountability is so big for me. If I can't track something, it's really difficult for me to hold myself accountable. So I'd say my Happy Hustle hack for that would be using some sort of an app that tracks it. So my last 3 years I've been on a health journey. Prior to that, I was real up and down, but I hired a health coach for the first year who got me onto an app to track everything. And then after that 1 year, I knew I was like, I'm just paying for somebody to tell me exactly what to do and where to track it. And then after that, the last 2 years, I've just done it myself, but it's been fantastic. So that'd be my biggest tip for that.
Yeah. What you measure, you can manage, right? So there you go. Great tactic there. Let's talk about money. I think money is so imperative to become a happy hustler. You have to have it, but it's not everything, right? It is a tool. It's a frequency. It makes you more of who you are. What is a happy hustle hack for money? Maybe something that you do to save or invest or spend wisely. Can anything you think of come to mind here that might be a little unique?
Yeah, I think you got to know how you're wired. And for me, I was really poor with my money in my 20s. And it took me a while to figure out it was lack of destination, which again, for me, is dreams. Like, what was I going to save for? And until I got really clear on these were the things that I was moving towards, saving money then became something that was exciting, as opposed to like, oh, I'm just supposed to do it. And so, once I started buying mobile home parks in my late 20s, and that was a really big place for me to say, I need to save more money so I'm ready for my next down payment. That was I would say is probably what the biggest shift for me was then. And then also, like anything else, my second, if I could give one more, would be find a group of like-minded people, and that could be a happy hustle group where you're talking about money and finances as one of the pillars that are in there. It could be a different investing group as well. I'm a member of before we hopped on, Justin Donald, who is a great buddy of mine, talks a lot about finances and has a group centered just around that pillar. So I think having it be some accountability with some people maybe on the similar situation to you, I think is important.
Yeah, great points there. The having, again, clear destination and a reason to save, and then also, just accountability in every aspect of life. I think it will enhance, the reality. Let's talk about spirituality. Just, one more happy hustle hack. Anything that you do to connect to a higher power. For me, like, it's not one religion or another. I'm very spiritual, but I'm not religious. I have gave it the old college try on to just about every religion, but I just, I do think maybe not every religion. Okay, I'll just say that. But I do, like, I'm a learner. I love to dive in, but I just think it's important to be spiritual and believe in something bigger than yourself and have faith. Well, what is a happy hustle hack for you? A way that you connect spiritually to a higher power?
So, and again, I talk about this a lot with the dreams. I think it is so you got to know who you are. And so for me, I went through 20s and most of 30s not being centered around a religion. I grew up super rigid Catholic, and so that pushed me away. And everybody has their own story with it. So when my kids were like 3 and 1 and 4 and 2, I started getting the desire to say, man, I really would love my kids to grow up with church, faith being at the core of it, because I think it helps a young person develop their moral compass. And so for me, when we moved, we upended our whole family and moved to Texas a couple of years ago. One of the things on our list was like, we want to find a really good non-denominational church, one that doesn't, that's more in the, not the rigid rules, but all the good stuff. And so when we moved to Austin a couple of years ago, we joined a church, and it's been amazing for us. And we have now relationships with other families and community that's centered from that place of faith. And I think you've heard community come up a few times in mine. Again, that's why I think like what you do with Happy Hustle is so great, because it's just like anytime that you get like-minded people around, it's like it's only going to carry those conversations further.
Yeah. Oh, that's powerful. I think, and I actually went to a non-denominational church as well. And I do think just having faith and that moral compass that you talk about, it's got to be a part of the puzzle somewhere. It's just everyone's going to be on their own journey there. So yeah, awesome happy hustle hacks. All right, man, I'm going to put you through the rapid fire round, then we'll wrap this interview up. So this is honestly where I ask you random questions and you just answer first thing that comes to mind. Are you ready?
Yes.
All right, let's get it. Favorite food? Go.
Steak.
Favorite movie?
Anchorman.
Favorite book? Nice.
Favorite book? I'm going to go with Who Not How.
Nice. I think I know the answer to this, but what's your spirit animal?
Oh, my spirit animal is a rhino.
Yeah, I see that big rhino behind you. So that's awesome. All right. Best business advice.
Best business advice. It's going to be, it is find something that you're excited about. I hesitate to use the word passion. Find something that you're excited about, and then make sure that you have a phenomenal mentor.
Oh, I love it. 3 things you're most grateful for.
My wife, the country that we live in, and being in a situation where I have full autonomy.
Yeah, those are great. And if you had a billboard for the world to see with your last piece of content on it, what's that billboard read, Dane?
When there's hope in the future, there's power in the present.
Boom. Man, crushed that rapid fire round, brother. And listen, man, I just want to take a moment to acknowledge you. Thank you for sharing your love, your light, your wisdom, your dream machine with the Happy Hustlers and myself. I mean, I appreciate you, man. And I just felt the connection to you. And I'm just grateful that, we got to rock the mic together, but then also to continue to collaborate and explore our friendship. So thank you, man. I
For
appreciate you.
sure. Yeah. Thank you for the time, Gary. It's been a blast being on.
Yeah, this is awesome, man. So I always like to just give, you one more chance to just go ahead and kind of tell people where's the best place for people to follow you online, and again, maybe mention where they can pick up the copy of your book as well.
For sure. So yeah, any of the socials, Instagram is probably the one I'm most active on, and there's only, to my knowledge, there's only one Dane Espegard, so you can find it on any of those. My website is just daneespegard.com, and again, they can get the book at / free gift, and then the Dreams Vault is the software that we put out that somebody can request a free demo on there, or just by messaging me individually.
There we go. And we'll link all that up in the show notes. All right, Dane, final question, brother. What does happy hustling mean to you?
Happy hustling to me means waking up and looking at your calendar and being excited about almost everything in there. I think that every hustle's got a little part that's like, it's got to be done. But I think, yep, being excited that it's Monday is happy hustle.
Oh, mic drop. Dane Espegard. Thank you all for watching and listening. We are out. Peace and love, everyone.